first team all honors for Kendall, along with the others who got it today. Is there anything new to say about what she's done and accomplished? Because that seems icing on the cake.
Yeah, no, I'm just so happy for her because she deserves it. And as we know with now how deep this league is, how many teams that we have, all the great players, it's really hard to be on that first team. It's really hard to get any recognition in this league now. And actually, I was looking at that. I'm like, when you look at all defense and when you look at all freshmen, I think we really have to look at expanding some of that because just there's too many great players to be able to limit some of those teams to only 5. But what a great honor for KB to get first team. She deserves it. She has worked, her entire career to continue to improve. And there's no doubt, I believe, and I'm glad that the coaches in the media also agree that she's one of the top 10 players in this league.
Is she, as a follow-up, is she maybe one of the most technically sound players you've had? I'm not, she's a little bit undersized, right?
Yeah, she's undersized, but she makes up for that in hard and work and again, the discipline piece of it. So she's very, technical and fundamental, and that's something that, we preach and we teach as a program, as the fundamentals, and she's fallen right into that. She was, she's embraced it, and she just continues to get better. So very deserving.
What would that mean for you to see Jen get second team? She mentioned 5 minutes, 2 points coming out, and takes over as a point guard for you guys.
Again, it's so hard to get that. So, I mean, you look at even, we were going through and looking at, all the people that got someone on first and second team, and not many teams did. It's really, really hard. So, same thing that I said about KB. It's so deserving. It shows. I'm glad the coaches in the media saw how important she was to our team. I think that's what it's about is what do you do for your team and how critical are you? And she has done so much for us in terms of, being our leader, being our point guard, showing poise, scoring when we need her to. She's really just done it all. So could not be more proud of her as well. Again, like she said, knowing where she came from and hearing from her of just kind of that low point to now, her last go round of being second team, all Big Ten, one of the top 20 players, in the league. Just really, really amazing.
When you went back and looked at that game from Sunday, what stood out about the fourth quarter?
It was hard, to watch. I said, I probably got more frustrated as the last 2 days have gone on about so many things involved in it. But it's just all the things that we had done well in that kind of 2-month stretch of finishing in all areas, we just didn't do. You look at the turnovers. Well, we only had 2 turnovers off of actual press. Some of the other stuff, ill-advised shots, missed layups, not running plays right, not doing what we wanted to do and get what we wanted to get. Blown assignments defensively, them just pushing down our throat, getting easy transition. I mean, it just really snowballed very quickly. We still, with 2 minutes, we're down 2, and we took a shot that wasn't the shot we wanted. And so again, all the things that, we had done so well and I was praising us about for those of pulling all those takings out, we just didn't do that and still had a chance to win.
Back to KB, just her describing maybe this opportunity as a full circle moment for her going back to Indiana, playing in the Big Ten tournament. How rewarding as a coach is that to see what she's been able to do and be a part of that journey that she's been able to have here?
Yeah, it's so rewarding. It's why we do what we do, to see your kids get better, to see them evolve as obviously players, but more importantly as people, to see them grow as leaders, to see them be rewarded for all their hard work and the success that they've had as a team and individually. Even I didn't even think about that with her going back. See, that's what you guys, that's what you get paid the big bucks for, to think of all those storylines. Same thing last year. We went to Indy and she got to win a championship and cut down nets in Indianapolis. And so really cool story for her last year. And hopefully, this year that Indianapolis brings out another little run in us and this team. But all these guys, and that's what, the part about, Sunday and the whole, senior day and just being able to really sit back and reflect on them, and listen to Jen and about, where she was at, where she's at now, KB, they all have their own story and their own path. And when you take the basketball piece, out of it, that's why it's what we do. What we do is that they've grown and they become, really great people, and it just you're really proud of them.
What's the challenge? I'm sorry.
No, I was just gonna say that's why I was at a good place with the game after the game, because I was like, and then the more I rewatch it, the more I get mad about the basketball piece. Sunday I was just worried about our seniors, and then you look at it and you're like, man, we let that one go.
Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you
no,
off.
you're good.
What's the challenge of you guys play a 6-7 player rotation in a tournament style where you can play a lot of games and not a lot of days?
I'm you guys, I'm over that. Like, it's like the same thing. Okay, maybe Sunday it was fatigue, right? Like, when you really look at it, probably just wore down, but you're not gonna, no. I'm gonna tell our team today, again, I don't care. It is what it is. We've been able to find ways to win, so no excuses. If we got to play Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, then you're in the Big Ten tournament. If you can't muster up enough, energy and passion and tough it through, then we shouldn't be there. So you're not going to hear that from me. I don't care what we have. So many people can make excuses. It's not coming from us.
Do you buy the idea? You were at the desk with KB when she said, like, this is different. Like, when we next lose, we're done. Like, it seems like a veteran group would kind of get that a little bit more and how to play a little bit looser, even though those are the stakes.
Yeah, I hope that they can do that, because sometimes it's kind of that fine line. I think that it's propelled us a lot this year, and they've been mature enough to handle that. But I also think sometimes, like the other day, like a senior day, I don't know if the emotion piece got to us at all. But then, we're playing some freshmen that they don't know what they don't know. So sometimes it's like, is it good? Is it bad? You never know until that moment. But there is an added sense of urgency when it could be, you have the Big Ten tournament and then you have in-state tournament. So it could be done really, really quickly. So hopefully we'll utilize it as a positive and a benefit. So we don't want it to be done. So we just doing whatever it takes so we don't lose.
Not to suggest other games maybe haven't given confidence, but for Barry to go to LA and really look in place against 2 top 5 teams, like what did that do for her now going into the tournament?
Yeah, hopefully it gave her, the confidence that she can play against obviously 2 of the best teams with some of the best players in the country, and she can score at that level. So, and she can defend. Now it's just about, again, the consistency of all that, and that's her. It's our entire team. We know we can play with some of them, but you got to be able to finish. And the same thing the other night where we just didn't finish, and you have 5 minutes left and you have a 5-point lead. You got to finish and you got to make plays. And I've been preaching that all along. In March, it's about the team that's the most consistent, the most disciplined, gives the most effort for the longest amount of time. So hopefully she'll get confidence from, but we all gotta be able to finish.
In the so new like Big Ten with only playing mostly one schools one time, but obviously Nebraska getting a rematch against them. What's sort of the uniqueness of playing a team a second time, and especially in a tournament setting, or Nebraska or Rutgers, whoever it is?
The thing about that I like is both those teams we've played fairly recently. Obviously Nebraska just 2 weeks or a week and a half ago, 3 games ago. Rutgers, it seems like it's been closer to probably what it actually has been. So, and then Nebraska, I think we have a lot of just familiarity with, because we played them 2 times our first 2 years here. So we'll be familiar with both of them, and I like both of them matchup wise. I actually probably like that matchup a little bit better than some of the other possibilities we had. So at this point though, everyone look at Nebraska last year. They went to Minneapolis and made a run and made the championship game. They know how to win the Big Ten tournament if that's who we play. So we gotta be ready to go. We gotta be sharper. We have to be more execute the details at a higher level than we have the last 3 games.
How did you go about coaching this team this year? What I mean is, like, how did things not get stale? You've had players that for 3 years have heard the same thing over and over and over again, and they kind of know it even before you probably were going to say it.
Yeah, that's a good question, because I think some of it is like sometimes I feel like a broken record, and I think it's like, at this point, it's like when I talk to my own kid, they just ignore some of the stuff you say, and I'm sure these guys do a lot. They're like, oh, here she goes again. But the great thing about that is they're so connected and they want it so badly, and they know what their goals are. So I think they're just so self-motivated, and I've had to do a few things different, but we're pretty routine no matter what, and that can get really, old. I mean, we do a lot of the same stuff, and it's just how we do stuff, and we're very fundamental, we're very detail driven, and that can get really old, especially when you're a fifth year and you're like, oh, geez, we're doing this stupid drill again. So I credit our players because they bought in, they understand that the process matters and the details matter, and that what we do always has a purpose. I'm not just doing it to make, their life hell for 5 minutes in a drill. Like, we're doing it with purpose, and I think they've really bought into that.
Is there anything with Jazz you had to monitor after she good to go?
Yeah, as far as I know, she's good to go. She's probably a little sore, but I haven't gotten any other things, and she wasn't on any limits the other day.
After this weekend, you'll have a sizable gap you took before the postseason starts. Now that you've been through this a few times, is there a way you want to maximize that time?
Yeah, I think this year is probably a little bit different, so it's going to really depend on, how long we play in the Big Ten tournament, as to how many days I give them off and what that schedule looks like. Last year our whole thing was in the WBIT and that week off, we just competed. I mean, we scrimmaged and we just really got after it. And it really rejuvenated us and got our competitive spirit, and it was one of the most fun weeks of practice I've ever had, and just the life that we had, especially coming from a really pretty down moment in Minneapolis when we lost, to that whole week. I don't think I can do that this year when we don't have hardly any healthy bodies, so we probably won't be doing that. It'll really just be focused on us, get a lot of shots, keep our conditioning, but even though I'd love to be able to compete in scrimmage, probably not going to be the smartest thing if I did that.
I apologize if this is a repeat question, but Makaira did senior day on Sunday. Is there any hope of getting a red shirt waiver or anything like that for her?
We haven't even talked about that, so I don't know.
Mike Kuhn, voice of the program, what's that relationship been like for you, and what does he bring to the table as someone that's, really kind of documenting this program's journey?
I like that, bringing in Mike into this. This is good. He's great. He's just been, it's awesome because he's been here so long. He has all these stories, and between him and Rick, they remember every little thing, and they can, go back to this moment. I don't know how they remember it. So it's been kind of cool just to have him see all the different phases of Illinois women's basketball. They were here around Coach Grant's and through some of the tough times, and now, having him with us on this journey, he's a great person, fun to be around, and glad he's been loyal. Talk about loyalty. That's a guy that's been around, and I feel like you hear some of those highlights, you got to hear his voice. It just goes hand in hand.
Yeah, it's just because you have a couple freshmen redshirting, but football there's more of a wiggle room, right? They get 4 games and they can still. Would you like to see basketball in Mendit where they could play in some portion of games while still maintaining a red shirt?
I just think they need to go the 5-5 is what I really want, and I think that's where it's trending. I hope so. I think just give them 5 years. Then we don't have to worry about all these waivers and all that stuff. I just think it's the cleanest, easiest way of what we're going to.
Do you prepare for both teams that you could play, a little bit of both, or what's that dynamic look like?
Yeah, right away I started preparing. I started with Nebraska just because, obviously I think they're the favored one, but you never know in this time. So as soon as Sunday night, I've been watching Nebraska the last 2 days. Tomorrow I'll start, maybe even tonight I'll start into Rutgers too. So I'm going to be prepared for both. Our assistant coaches have their scouts. They've already kind of dove into both of them, and they're actually, it's kind of nice. They're kind of similar. We can work a lot of the similar things in terms of they're both post heavy. Obviously Nebraska shoots a lot better than Rutgers, but we'll be able to kind of approach some prep with both of them.